I just want to make sure. So what you guys said, you've just gone in and found your capital value.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not necessarily what its value is, but that's going to give you a guide.
So there's the land value, there's the improvement value, and then the capital value.
Yeah.
So the improvement value that they're putting on there are all improvements.
Yeah, including the bore and everything like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, huh?
Yeah.
So if you're trying to extract the value of a winery building, that's not going to help you.
No, no.
Okay. So don't think, guys, that you can just put that improvement value into Paul's column there, because what it'll remove is all improvements.
Yeah.
It'll just take you back to their land. See what I mean?
So yeah, so what you've got to come back to is work out what you think the bare land value is, and if you look at those sales, there's a hell of a range there. But you might want to go into that 100 Tamata Mangatiriri Road and get an idea of what the value of improvements are on that, and have a look at the photo, because it might just sort of, oh, well, looks like it's just a standard house, so you know that might be worth 300,000-400,000 because it's in a good location. But I think you'll find that based on those values, yeah, we just haven't got enough. Yeah, have you done any research to see what's on the market in terms of vineyards?
On the
Should
gravel.
we just have a quick look? Eh?
On the gravels, there's nothing.
On where?
Again, the gravels.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, just
No, that's the trouble. Let's just quickly have a look and just see what's there, because that'll just give us another idea. So we go into Trade Me. Well, it probably won't let me. Does it let you get onto Trade Me yet? It should be away. Oh, why don't I just go stuff and go through that way?
It's because you can't just type. It won't bring up the history. At least the history every time.
Yeah,
it's
like
so you have to put in the full address. No, right from the very beginning.
Oh, I do. Right. Okay. Right, so we go into real estate. Where is it? We go Hawke's Bay, and we go. We'll just go all districts. Oh, actually, we'd better go into rural. Sorry. So around the horticulture. Oh, so I've got 24 there. Well, there's orchards.
Where's that?
That's Bridge Pond. That Bridge Pond.
Okay, so there's its there's its rateable value.
So that address, which is the location of it, 0 Maraikaka Road.
Do you know that one?
Where would 0?
Where would 0 be?
Is it mentioned?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They haven't put it in. They haven't disclosed it. There's only one photo.
Can we get it from the property ID? Is there any way of searching that?
Well, not really. Oh, sorry. No, that property ID is the actual unique to Wrightson's, PGG Wrightson's. It's not the rateable value. Oh, Street View. Here it is.
That's next to you, isn't it, John?
Oh, it is virtual. Isn't that good enough?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the airport.
No, that's on the other side. Maybe.
Oh, it's the other side. Never mind.
It's just before the entrance to the
Oh, it's very good. Yeah, not Kakaka.
It is right. So it's in the wrong tree there.
Is that close to your place, John?
Is there a Street View on this?
If you just scroll up.
So there's the.
Look, that's at the beginning of Bridge Park.
Mm.
In the middle of the road.
So it's maybe this one here.
That's not a vineyard.
No, I think it's on the other side.
Is it? Doesn't look like this.
Must be the little part behind the hedge.
It's 11 hectares.
So it's a bloody awful block, isn't it? Dry.
I'm
Well, that photo when that was
absolutely
taken.
sure that's not a vineyard.
Yeah.
That's stuff
mean, you could ring up and they'd probably tell you anyway. So what I would include in that analysis when you do that, well, back to the spreadsheet, is actually include some of those properties that are on the market. And if they've got a list price, well, that's great. But if they haven't, just put in what the RVs are, and you'll sort of roughly get an idea of where you. And the agent, if you actually rang the agent, they might even tell you, oh well, you know, the vendor wants sort of in this sort of range anyway. So it might be just a little way. So so what's on the market is a good one to find there. So you've kind of got all the tools there to, I think, to find out there. Is there anything else that you think you might need or clarification on?
I don't quite understand land value, improvement value, capital value. So are we only looking at land value?
So capital value, CV is the rateable value, so that's the total value, and that's, just for this example, is $1 million. The VI is value of improvements, so that's the buildings, the infrastructure, the bore that the guys put down, all the structures, but not actually the vines won't have a value as such, and trees aren't actually included in that either, the tree value. So it's just all the improvements, and if that was 300,000, obviously that leaves you 700,000 for the land value. So that's the bare land. If you were to walk on there tomorrow, on that land, and you had to put up all the internal fences, or you wouldn't on a wall block, but put down a bore, put power onto the site, all that sort of stuff.
So the only one we're interested in is land value. We're trying to find out what that is.
You were trying to get down. Well, what we're actually trying to work out is what the land without buildings is just taking the buildings out of it, not all the water supply or the bore, etc. Unless you had to put that in there. So what you're just trying to get down to a standard of comparison by, I've just put improvements there. I should have put maybe building improvements in there. So I've sort of roughly assessed what I think the value of the house and the curtilage or the area around it is, and taken that off to come out with a land without buildings value, and that's my basic standard unit of comparison. So therefore, the block that you're buying or you're gonna have, you would value it based. So say it's, what are you? You're 10 hectares. So
the land value says 775.
775,000. So what? Yeah. So that's 75,000 a hectare, isn't it? Which is kind of, if you look at those sales there's a bit of a range there. Because of its location, it probably is still around that value, but you might value the land itself at around 60 to 70,000 a hectare, and then you've got to put on, if it's bare land, and then add the vineyard. Well, what you're going to then need to spend to get it up and running is obviously is what you're going to have to work out there. Okay. So I think I don't want to spend too much time on that, but hopefully you've got a bit of an insight into how values, or how value would look at that. He'd just go and see what is sold around that area.
75,000.
Hey?
So just on the grounds right now, based on the improvements this year, is 75,000 a hectare.
On the
gravels.
On the gravels,
Yeah.
which seems a bit light to be fair.
But that's just based on just land value of
Yeah.
60,000, 8 hectares.
Bare land
Bare land. That's just the land value, not including improvements.
of any
Yeah.
kind.
Yeah. So this website has, it says land value, then improvements in total.
That's the one that we've just been on, you mean?
No, I was doing for the one I was working at.
Yeah.
But it said land value 590,000. Then it said improvements of 1,380,000 with a total of 1,950,000.
Okay. What's the improvements on?
Well, put a winery in a house.
There is a winery and house on there.
No, it's put a bottling company in. That costs something.
Yeah, but to be honest, when that value was put together, the bottling company wasn't there, so it wouldn't include the bottling company.
This shows bottling company in the picture.
Yeah,
But that doesn't matter.
because it depends when the valuation
Yeah,
is done.
it's
Okay.
roughly coming up for revaluation
It
this
is.
year or next year.
No, it's now. It's now.
Now, so it's 3 years ago that value there was.
Okay. So I'm still confused. Are we supposed to just,
Well, what you're trying to come up with is a value of the bare land, okay, plus the improvements of infrastructure, borehole,
that we're going to need
vines,
to put on?
etc. The bare land, the land value on the Hastings council site is bare land, completely bare land.
Yeah.
Okay. And the improvements is all improvements, including a house, a winery, vines, posts, trellising, everything.
That we're gonna have to put into it.
No.
No.
The value of improvements.
Yeah, yes, yeah, I understand,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
So you need to take that improvements value and say, okay, how much of that value that they've got as improvements is the winery in the house? Because I need to take that out, because I'm not interested in that. Okay, I'm looking at this site as if that wasn't there.
Yeah, that's what I mean, yes.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So you need then, whatever you've got left as improvements, once you've taken the house and the winery out, you then need to add that
To
the land value.
Correct.
And that gives you a true land value, including the vines and infrastructure.
So how do you find out what it's worth, the house and the?
Oh, well, that's what I said a few minutes ago. That's the challenge you guys face, is you've got to look at a picture of it and say, well, it's got a winery on it. Well, jeepers.
You might be, if it's close to the road, you go into street view and
You do
yeah,
like
it's a
price
it is
of
very
all those
subjective.
things and then minus
but
it on the-
I would say for a vineyard block, depending where you are, I mean, Gimlet
No,
Gravels, I
but
think,
like the- all the
75
other
to-
stuff, like your bought prices, your,
150.
yeah,
other additional
I
prices
think it's probably,
that
it'd be
from
higher, you know, because it's a
the-
premium
your-
area.
Up to 200,000, you think?
Maybe not at this stage of the market, but again, we haven't got really a lot of market evidence there. You know, as I say, there hasn't been a lot of sales there for the last year or so. Well, that's what I threw out for the last 12 months. So perhaps, you know, we needed to go back. If I can, I will see if I can I'll just get the raw data. I'll go back a couple of years for you, and I'll put that on the site for you. Okay, so you can see what has been selling.
I mean, this is, and we mustn't forget this other challenge faced by the online people as well, who aren't in Hawke's Bay.
Yeah.
Of course, is they've got to go through exactly the same process.
Yes.
And this exercise isn't to challenge them necessarily on valuing or
No.
so. Trying to think how we make it as easy as possible for them. And I'm just wondering, just thinking off the top of my head here, whether we have to come up with some form of ballpark figures for a winery building or for a house, and say, okay, put that value in, and we'll make that assumption and pull that out of all the figures.
Yeah.
So, like you say, if it's a house on there, let's assume it's worth 200 or 300,000.
Yep.
And then
Well, let's do
take
that now.
Wouldn't it be better to do like a percentage of the improvement value is the winery house rather than the actual value?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
you can do that.
9% is.
Yeah. So basically, we'd have to work out a rough percentage.
You could do it that way, but now just on the assumptions for the assignment, because we're going to get into the budgeting soon, we're assuming that basically you've got the money to buy the land, but you're going to need to borrow the money to, or borrow the money or get an investor in, whichever way you want to do it, to do all the improvements. Is that right? Is it?
Yeah, no, that's what we said. Although Damien came up with what was your point yesterday when you were asking about?
Well, yeah, if you go into, let's say, we're gonna throw numbers out there, I got 500,000 cash in the
Yep.
bank, collecting interest. And then I wanna buy the land for $500,000. So they're gonna ask me, do I have any other collateral or anything I can use as collateral against anything else? So if I buy the land for $500,000, it's mine, I own it.
Yep.
But I have no capital.
Yep.
So do I turn around and borrow on equity, or borrow on what I have invested in the land? Or do I turn around and say to the bank, okay, I'm gonna give you $250,000, and I'm going to use my other capital for improvements and betterments?
Okay. If you've got 500,000 sitting in the bank, say, and you're going to buy a block of land for 500,000, then you would borrow against that block of land. So you would give
Yes.
the bank the security or
Yes,
the land,
a down payment.
and like, what is it? Have you got a rough ballpark figure of what do you think it's going to cost to develop it?
No, not yet.
No. But say it's going to be worth 200,000. That's probably on the high side. But just say it is 200,000. Then obviously you borrow the 200,000, and that would be secured against the $500,000 value, because that's the value of the property. That's what you've paid for it.
Right.
So I suppose what Damien's getting at is it better to spend all the 500 on the land and borrow it for the improvements, or you you spend half on the land and keep half back as cash to spend on the improvements, which means you have to borrow the other half to finance
I don't
the
think it
bank.
really makes any difference. I think it's better just to buy the land, and then you've got that security to offer the bank, and then borrow from there. But we'll go through how we would outline the proposal, which will be part of your business plan and part of your application to the bank. Or your business plan is going to be your application to the bank. So I think we'll make that clear there. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Right. Well, maybe just a little stretch the legs. I'll just get organised for the next part. So, are we all clear on you've got some tools there to find out some idea what's on the market to compare that to what's there, and we'll go from there. So, a couple of minutes, and I'll just get organised for that budgeting one.
Is it not working?
Did you even push record?
Hey John, so when I say,
It's run away.
do you know how this works? When you save something on ET Online, it'll just save on there, won't it? Like it. So all that stuff I've done
Yeah.
should have saved.
I don't know if you have to upload a new file or not.
Hey?
Because
Yeah,
like
that
you'll
might- yeah,
upload
you
the
might
original
actually have to.
file and